So thank you all of you for showing up again and for inviting me to show up again. I appreciate it. I'm going to be continuing lessons from the I Am the Word series. And also want to let you know that we're in the process of setting up a more intensive book study that we're going to do online. And I'm just so excited to be able to facilitate with you and for you. So today's talk is a continuation of what is mine to do because technically that's really where we are, right? We're here to be that, to express what we sing about, what we align to, what we say are our beliefs. And we're come here together in this setting and we call it church. But it's really a an opportunity to just to take a moment and in our busy week and realign and be reminded again of the truth of who we are and then fill up our tanks and then go out into the world again and express from that knowing. So I will be sharing a little bit more in depth on some of the teachings, and I hope to bring one or two of the teachings that you can work with throughout the week as you begin to shift your own consciousness. So I'm going to begin by sharing my screen. I think it's okay. There's a request to share the screen, and then I'll put up some slides. Again, here's this the cover of the book that I mentioned, and I hope between now and the time we decide to begin this book study that you'll purchase the book and begin reading. Um, so much of what's in this book really is vibrational transmission, and that even that concept, me saying that concept was so surprising to me. But I think that if you do join us in the book study, you will see what I'm talking about, and we'll begin to look at that. So starting out, we kind of did talk a lot about what the meaning of becoming the Word. So let's kind of want to put this in some sort of a context for you, and the idea of becoming the Christ. And so to be the Christ simply means to be yourself in full realization of the power that you are as an aspect of the source energy and of God. And we could, replace that God to source energy because we tend to separate ourselves quite a bit in consciousness when we speak about God because it's kind of hard to get our minds around it. So that's understandable. But I like to use lots of ways to kind of do the shifting for us because we can get very, very set in an understanding. And I think that's a lot of what we're doing as we're growing. We're starting to loosen up some of these concepts that we might have had, that we were taught, that we believed, that we really relied on, and we expand into a larger expression of this truth, and that is it's all of source, and we call that source energy God. All right, and we are of that, and so it means to be that in action, which means in expression. So a quote from the Bible, of course, in the beginning in Genesis says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God. That's interesting. In the beginning. And so, as just in this one phrase, you see so many aspects. And so and that's part of the paradox and the mystery of this truth. All right. But the truth is that we one way to see it is we are spoken into existence. So, and that includes everything. And a deeper dive into the metaphysical study of the book of Genesis will reveal a lot more. But at the beginning, we just need to just look at this. In the beginning was Word, and we are that Word. So, this decree that you are Word, you're an aspect of God or Source or love. You fill in that blank with a word that resonates with you. being brought forth into light. So this is the decree that that is our existence, that is our truth. And here's the interesting thing. It's not just us. It's everyone and everything in existence. So the word is the vibration of God in action. Word is action, creation. It's creation. When we say to you, and this is a quote from the book, and the teachers in the book identify themselves as a collective consciousness known as Melchizedek, and there's a lot more there that I want to share with you in the future. So that was one of my first questions. So who's talking to me? Who are these people, or what is this? And it is an energy. And so when we say to you, I am word, we are decreeing ourselves as an aspect of the creator in action. And when you decree, I am word, you summon to you your own anchoring as the Christ itself and begin to make this manifest in form. So we have to begin by aligning to that truth. So when you decree, I am word, you are summoning through your own will to your own anchoring as the Christ itself. And then you begin to bring that forward in form. So the Christ is not a person. I think I've shared this with you before, but this is important because we tend to kind of label and pigeonhole some of these words that we've heard like forever, and we haven't embodied them or really have an understanding that works for us within our knowing. So the Christ is not Jesus's last name, Jesus the Christ. Okay, it's a title that has been given to Jesus because he realized and actualized the image and likeness within himself, and he taught that we could do the same by following his example. And one of the quotes from the book is, "You do not become the Christ. The Christ becomes you." So here is a level of consciousness that begins to unfold and expand as we align. So in the Bible, in the story of Jesus, the book of John, um, Jesus used quite a few I am statements. You're probably familiar with these. And there were illustrations really of his holding of the Christ consciousness. And so these are some of the statements that he used. And of course, these can be metaphysically interpreted. They've been talked about and taught in all different ways. But I just like pointing out that he took the time in the process of his development, he was making and stating claims of truth. I am the bread of life, he claimed. I am the light of the world. I am the door. I am the good shepherd. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the way and the truth and the life. I am the true vine. So these were all words, all phrases that he used and examples he used as he taught others. And he also was claiming these as a truth of his reality as it was coming through for him. So as I looked up the metaphysical in the metaphysical dictionary, the word "I am," what it means, according to our teachings through unity, is that I am is the metaphysical name of the spiritual self. So that's that divine spark within us is the I am. The I am is our true name. I am is our true name. Yet we use it in a very interesting way. We use it to claim an identity. And so whenever we fill in the blank, I am blank, this is the claim of your expression. You are claiming that as who you are. So think about how we do this in a very mindless way. I am fill in the blank. Many times we're claiming that we're sick. We're claiming that we're poor. We're claiming that we are confused. I use that a lot. We're claiming something, and it's usually not always negative, but we kind of tend to want to point out what we call our reality by making these I am statements and claims. And we need to start becoming aware of how we have been doing this pretty much all our lives, and how, and not just us, but collectively, we're doing this as a species. And in this process, we are creating those in our life and in our experience. So that's our, one of our principles, that these thoughts that we hold in mind and these claims that we make through the misuse of our spiritual self, that I am consciousness, we are creating everything we see. So that's enough to just kind of sit back for a minute and look at it. um, a good metaphor to consider is to, when you're looking at yourself in a mirror, what's in the mirror is a reflection of the image that is in front of the mirror. If you see a hair out of place, let's say, when you look in the mirror, you see something that you don't like, you don't go fix it out there in the mirror. You don't go and try to, flatten up that little weird spot on the top of your head in the mirror. It's to show you that it's something that is true of you. So it's reflecting back to you. So as we are expressing our I am, we are creating that image out pictured in the world and in our experience. And we already know that no two people have the same experience. It seems like it's the same experience. It seems like we're sharing the same thing, but we have totally different perceptions. So that's becoming more and more evident in our world, to see, wow, everyone's projecting, I'm projecting, it's coming back, I'm seeing myself in people over here, I'm seeing myself in people over there. Whatever that is in me is being reflected, and it's being expressed, and it comes up as, some sort of emotion or response. Wow, we're in this very dynamic exchange of claiming I am identity. So this brings kind of to mind a teaching, through Unity. We teach 4 levels of consciousness in Unity. You might have heard some of these before. This might be the first time, or you might be getting it in a new way, which I love when that happens. So the first level of consciousness is what is entitled victim consciousness. And it's this understanding of this belief system that we hold, that everything happens to me. Everyone's out to get me. So I am holding this consciousness of being a victim or victimized by the world or the situation or the circumstances. And, it's sort of a very powerless experience or consciousness. And it's very common. And at some point, we have a realization, we have a growth, we have, wait a minute, you know, uh, I'm not a victim. I can choose. I have the power to choose my responses. And so now that's an awakening, that's an opening. And we step into a new level of consciousness. We call that victor consciousness. We're going to overcome our situation, our circumstances, whatever. We have this sense of internal power. We've, really activated our 12 powers. We're stepping into the reality. We're believing the truth that of who we are, that we're creators and co-creating, and we're, we're not gonna just take victim consciousness as a given. It's no longer the place where we kind of hang out. And so we start moving into victor consciousness, and that is very empowering. Now, here's the thing about victor consciousness and victim consciousness. In order to have victor consciousness, you kind of have to have a victim. You have to have something you're overcoming. So it's still very dualistic, right? But it's better than victim consciousness, is just kind of sit there and not feel like you're an autonomous being, and or powerless in some way, which is very difficult. But this process of victim victor victim victor, we kind of hang out there a lot, as some of us individually hang out there a lot. Some of us see groups hanging out there a lot. Some of us see it in the collective consciousness. I think we see a lot of this, and it's important to just see it, and again, not judge it, but just notice it. Oh, okay, I'm seeing this dynamic expressing. And then as we continue to uh, align with the truth of who we are, which is the higher aspect of truth, our Christ consciousness, and we begin to anchor that in alignment and believing that and being part of that, we move into another level of consciousness. It's called vessel consciousness. And in vessel consciousness, we open up to a greater aspect of ourselves or a higher power, and we choose, with our own sense of autonomy and choice, free will that we're gifted with, and we choose to be in service to something that's greater than us. And so now the little victor victim thing, it's not as it's not where we're hanging out. We're hanging out, okay, how can we serve? How can we lift? How can we bring light to the situations? How can we help those who are still seeing the world in victim consciousness, or those who are feeling that they need to somehow overpower somebody or something else in victor consciousness? And how can we move beyond something bigger in vessel consciousness? And then the ultimate consciousness as we are in that service aspect. And I believe that, that is where humanity is going. We're moving in this direction collectively as each one of us does our own inner work to align. We move into verity consciousness. And verity consciousness is when there's alignment to that which is absolute truth, and which is our first principle. God is one power, one presence. And we don't say omniscient because that makes it like a person who knows everything. It's omniscience, omnipotence. It's a power. It's a consciousness. It's a principle, and we move into that as the absolute truth, and we begin to see through those eyes, which is the eyes of the Christ consciousness, looking out into our creations, what we've created. A lot of times in our confusion. So those are the levels, and we go up and down in these levels. Nobody say, "Well, I'm up in the top of verity consciousness, so I must be better than those people down there, victim consciousness." It's not about that. It's about this is how the different ways that we experience this life in human form. And as the Word, we are the Word. So as we align to that, we're aligning to the absolute truth, and then we can be of service in that capacity. So, what does it mean when we align to the Christ vibration? So, on page 40 of the book, it's quoted to become realized as your Christ itself will require you to believe that you are loved. If you will believe now that this is so, even for an instant, we will begin to bring forth the energy of the Creator through you to align you to this love. So we were singing about that. We were singing about, uh, God is everything and it's all love. And so that means I'm loved too. And so in order to realize that, we just have to believe that. So again, it's the power of our beliefs that we are loved. If we are feeling that much love within us, then we don't need to judge because they're loved too. Everyone is. And they're saying, even if we just believe it for an instant, well, the instant is just the opening. And the opening is when we allow with our own free will, because we can choose not to have that, but we choose instead to be that, to have that, to receive that, to be changed and shifted by that. And then we're able to bring forth this energy of the Creator, and it can expand like that flame within ourselves. I mean, that's a metaphor, but it's the same idea is that energy starts to expand, and it is fed through our thoughts and our thinking, and we align to it. So what is alignment? And for 2025, every year I pick a word. Y'all probably do that too when we do our white stone ceremony unity, which is a beautiful practice. And this year, my word was alignment. I picked the word alignment. And I use this as my symbol for alignment. It's like, we're over here, I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there, I'm up and down, I'm all over the place. And when I'm in alignment, I'm centering myself. So I use that for me. This helps me remember what that means when I'm alignment. And the experience of alignment is also really important. uh, I was walking around Spain. I was traveling with a bunch of teenagers during a heat wave in Spain. I was a chaperone for a group of students that were traveling, and our pace was fast paced. And in Spain at the time, there's not air conditioning like there is here in Texas everywhere. And Spain usually is, pretty temperate in their weather, but they have their, peaks. At this time, they were having very, very Texas weather in Spain, but they didn't have all the things we have here, like air conditioning and ice. And so, as we're walking through the streets of Spain, enjoying it, everything, we every once in a while we would pass by this area where there was a flow of air conditioning coming out of the door. And as it's coming out of the door, boy, I noticed that. You're going back, heat, heat, terrible, terrible. Then you pass and you get this little whiff of this cool air. And I noticed it. So then I would kind of step back and I would align and kind of hover there in front of that doorway so I could be in that flow of that wonderful air conditioning. And I thought that's what alignment is. The flow of God's love, the flow of love, which is creation, is all around us. Wherever it's blocked because someone's blocked it and we've blocked it. So when we're in alignment, we're saying, okay, I'm looking for that. I'm trying to bring myself back into alignment. It's always there, but I'm off. I'm not in alignment. So I want to align myself to what that is. And our practices, our teachings, what you do in meditation, the daily word that you feed uh, to your consciousness, the affirmations that you use, the denials when those thoughts come in that are not in alignment, you deny that they have power over you. These are all practices to keep you in alignment, to bring you back to alignment, to that higher truth of who you are, and that you are an aspect of the creator and expression. You are word. Now, our co founder, Myrtle Fillmore, used that to heal herself of tuberculosis. And she captured this idea. She always believed that she was a victim of her, her history and what people had said about her, that she was an invalid, and that, that at that time, that particular disease was not curable, and blah, 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 blah. And she then goes in and she gets a new idea. And the new idea is, I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness. It's like, okay, I'm a child of God. So, I mean, this had to dawn on her, and it had to be a big revelation in her own consciousness. And it was flickering at first, and she knew that it wouldn't last because the power of the collective consciousness was too much. And they kept telling, that pressure was hard to keep that flame going. And so she worked with it and she aligned to it every day and she affirmed it every day as the truth of her and who she was. And in the process, she continued to speak and pray to her body. And that is one of the attunements that the guides in this series also give us. I am word through my body. So when you choose I am word and you fill in the blank with that, you're infusing the power of the word and the truth, the higher truth of the creator and expression to whatever it is that you are concerned about or worried about or is showing up somehow in a way in your life, which is very much in alignment with New Thought and how Unity teaches. And it's simple. You say, I am word through the situation. So if there's something that is, if it's something that's in your body, then word through in your body because you're sending that energy of the creator to that part of your body. I am word through my left knee. And you hold that in your consciousness and you work with that. I am word. And it's interesting because your body will start to, when you meditate on this, your body will start to show you where, send word over here. You'll feel a little twinge in your right toe, and you'll feel another little something in your lower back. And you just keep sending that word energy to all these different parts. That's exactly what Myrtle Fillmore was doing. Exactly. So alignment is when we align to the truth that's always there. It's our action that we take to align. And so it's very, very doable, very, very, very doable to spend time in our own alignment to that truth. So and this is again principle number 5. It's not just knowing this, it's actually putting it into action that matters. So, unity principle, the five principles are completely in alignment with utilizing this Christ consciousness in our experience and to create our experience. If we say we want to pray for, what are we praying? Are we praying to something out there to come and do something here, and then we're disconnected? That doesn't work. We have to align first to that power and presence. It's always available, coming through us, filling us. That's the meditation part. We spend time in the silence. We spend time in this knowing. We spend time in this consciousness of serving as a vessel. And then it fills us and it informs our thoughts. And then because we're in alignment, it informs our thoughts of what it is that we're to take, what action we can take. And wording through or praying for or acknowledging and aligning to that truth through our own ability to see, we're here and witness, we're the eyes of this divine energy in expression in third dimension. We're here and we can send that out through prayer and blessing. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. What is it? What is ours to do? Ours first is to align to that truth of the creator in expression through and as us, and then see what is reflected back to us. That reflection that is reflected back to us are those things that we need to align ourselves in acceptance and in love. And we can send that love and we can say, I am word through the whatever is happening that is of your concern. All your heart's concerns are also the concerns of God. And we are that. And we are here to be the emissary of that energy through word, because we are word. So hold that in your mind, put it into your daily practice. When you're spending your time using your imagination to worry and condemn and judge and separate and, accuse and all of that, we're misusing our power. We're creating something, but it's not what we really want to see. So we need to use our power of creation, our alignment to the source of all that is, to bring that to the situation in frequency and vibration through claiming of that truth in this situation. The presence of God is in all of it. Why? Because we are witnesses and we can align to that truth and we can project and reflect and bless, bringing that energy of truth to every situation. So that's what's ours to do. Thank you all.